Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday, Friday Face-Off. Let's go, baby. Got an awesome topic that Vex and I are going to bat around here today. Vex, are you ready to rock and roll?
Give me it. Let's rock.
Right.
Let's rock today.
Okay, good. So this is actually a listener question that got over Instagram. So really appreciate everybody who always kind of writes us these things and is looking for topics. But this one was really interesting and has a lot to do with coaching, particularly when things aren't going well. So here it is. Real talk. Have you done an episode on a coach taking time to talk to individual players when stuff isn't connecting? I feel like our coach just keeps pushing to they don't want to win enough. But as someone who's coached people, there's always a reason why. So like things aren't going well and a lot of times the coach can go to negative town, and almost abdicate their responsibility for what's going on and kind of point the finger. That sounds like kind of what's going on right now. So again, without having any knowledge of how old these kids are or anything like that, let's hear it, Vex. What are your thoughts on something like this when the coach just kind of starts pointing the finger when things aren't going well, maybe not putting in as much effort? Like, what do you got?
I mean, I like what you said. The coach is abdicating responsibility. I mean, I don't want to throw this guy under the bus or girl. I don't know. I have no idea who it is. They didn't say who it is, but like, if you're saying things like that, like you're pointing fingers, but guys, every time you point a finger, there's 3 pointing right back to you. Okay. You always have to remember that. And any good leader is somebody who's taking that bullet first. They're not saying it's your fault. It's, anytime that somebody doesn't do something correctly in the gym the way that I want it, I stop and I say, okay, I obviously didn't coach that well enough to you. I did not get through to you the way that you didn't understand what I was saying. That's not a you problem. It's a me problem. So I have to figure out different language, and I immediately try to think of a different way to say what I'm looking to get out of them. And then when it clicks, okay, now I know that that's what I need to say to that guy or that girl to get them to have the outcome that I want. So I would say, first and foremost, this isn't great coaching to be saying that. I would say, it's the coach's job to zoom out and to figure out why and then how can we do things better and when and where, ask all those questions of yourself. If I'm on a team or if my kid is on a team where that's kind of happening, honestly, Toph, I don't know what, if I'm not coaching, I'm a parent, I'm in the stands and I hear the coaches saying this to the parents, we're losing because the kids don't want to win enough. I know myself that he is full of crap, but I honestly don't know how I would handle that. What would you do? I don't know.
Yeah, man, I have pretty strong feelings about this because it's interesting at the college level, right? Sometimes there's friction between a head coach and assistant coaches as it relates to because the assistant coaches do a lion's share of the recruiting. So they're the ones for the most part that are bringing in the players, and then the head coach has to coach kind of like who the assistants are bringing in, right? And just from talking to a lot of different people, like there's a lot of, I shouldn't say there's a lot, but certainly there are frustrated assistant coaches who feel like they get the brunt of the blame for a team not doing very well because their players deemed by the coach are not very good. Right. So there in and of itself is abdication of responsibility for things that are going on. And so like, I just have a real issue in today's day and age of people pointing fingers. I literally is probably my biggest pet peeve now of anything else in the world, because man, like of all the great people that I've been fortunate enough to be around, I honestly think accountability and ownership might be one of the most important character traits that those people have. And so anytime, if I'm a parent and I have a coach that consistently all they do is finger point, that's the message that is being sent to my kid, is it's your fault. And then, so what do? Kids model adults And so all of a sudden, what are they going to do? Well, it's not my fault. Like, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. And so, like, man, if I have a coach that's doing that, I am pulling my kid. My kid will never play for that coach again, solely for the life lesson of I want my kid to understand accountability. And that is a lesson that I could teach my kid through that is like, that's wrong. What he's doing is wrong. And yes, you do need to be better. Like whenever things aren't going well, it's everybody's responsibility. And you got to look inward first on what you can do to help the situation that's going on. So I have very strong feelings in this because I don't know anybody, maybe you do, who is an excuse maker that has amounted to much. I really don't. I don't know finger pointers that amount to much. I don't.
No, and when you think about it, if you're saying it's everyone else's fault that I'm not successful, that we're not successful, it's your fault, then that means that you're not actively working on bettering yourself because you're passing the buck, you're passing the blame. You're saying this is happening because of all of you. I'm good. I'm over here on the good side. You're on the crappy side. So I'm not going to continue to grow and work on myself because it's your fault, not mine. But somebody who takes responsibility and says, oh yeah, I'll wear that. They're going to be, okay, what am I going to do to fix that next time? I'm going to watch video. I'm going to work harder. I'm going to work smarter. I'm going to learn. I'm going to grow, right? If you don't accept that you failed and acknowledge it, then you're also not taking the next step, which is fixing it and learning from it and adapting and applying. And when you do all those things after the failure, you got better. Mm-hmm. There was an incident at TPH Academy this last week, and I wasn't there when it happened. And the kids left the locker room dirty, and it was unacceptable. Phil, the guy who runs TPH, is a head guy at TPH. One of my former clients, been on the podcast twice. He went down there, brought all the kids down there, and showed in the locker room. Said this is unacceptable, and it was kind of like who did this? And nobody stepped up. They were nervous. They're kids. This is a point to teach a lesson right here. And one of the kids who trains me in the summer finally stepped up and said, I did it. It was me. Part of it was me. And he's the only kid that stepped up. And I texted him when I heard that. And I said, hey, obviously I'm not happy that you made a mess in the locker room. You didn't clean up after yourself, but I can't tell you how freaking proud I am that in front of a whole room of your peers, you put your hand up when no one else did and said, I'll take responsibility for this. And when I saw him in person, I made 3 separate times where I took him to the side and I said, I know I've already said it, bro, but I can't tell you how proud I am of you. And I am extremely, extremely, extremely proud of you for doing that. I know how hard that was, but that's why you are. And that's why you're going to be successful in hockey and life.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah. And the coach, I guarantee you the coach has way more respect for him than he does every single other person, whether they were a part of it or not,
Right. And you're going to everybody makes mistakes. That's the thing. I always tell all my guys, I'm like, how much money do you make playing hockey? Like the kids, they're like, nothing. My dad pays a lot of money. I'm like, yeah, exactly. How much does Crosby make? How much does Malkin make? How much does McDavid make? Guess what? They make mistakes every single game, and they're making $10 million a year more than you, and they make mistakes. Mm-hmm. You are going to make mistakes. The goal for us is for you to learn from them immediately, which means you immediately get better. But you have to take responsibility when you make the mistake so that you can then work on making the change to get better.
Yeah. That was a great example too that you sent there. I even think about like maybe as Phil took those kids down to the locker room too, even, if there's a kid that wasn't even involved in it, but it was like, who cares? Let's all do it. Like nobody raise your hand. Let's just all do it. We're good.
Right.
All right. Next time it won't happen again. Like that's a leader.
Right.
I don't know. That's man. That's
life lessons wrapped up in hockey. That was like Bob Evans down on the farm.
I don't know that one actually.
You don't know the Bob Evans commercial?
I don't know.
Oh my God, the jingle. Bob Evans down on the farm. Life lessons wrapped up in hockey. Okay, I bet some of you know the Bob Evans commercial. Maybe it's because I'm from Missouri and you're from Illinois. I don't know.
Yeah. You guys are weird out there. Yeah, dude. Like the more, it's funny when I read this, like just the more the older I get, the more experience that I get, and the more people I I talk to in this hockey world at every different age and every different level. Accountability and ownership. Accountability and ownership. Accountability and ownership. Accountability and ownership. Not only, honestly, like not only are you going to be better for it, but I think that's way more mentally healthy than the other way.
100%.
When you take 100% accountability for everything that you do, and I might have said it before, or maybe it was on the podcast with my dad, but like when you take accountability and ownership for everything, for the good and the bad, and you realize that so much more of your life is in your control than you think, it's an absolute game changer from productivity, from success, from mental health, from physical health, all of it. So
it just also makes you get off your hands and go to work. Because you're like, my success and my failure is on me, and it's always on me, and it's always up to me to find a way.
Yeah.
If you're an excuse maker, if you hang around excuse makers, you're not taking that action all the time.
Yeah. And if you're
at everybody else,
and if you're a coach who's pointing fingers, guess what you're doing? You're modeling the way, and guess where the fingers are going to be pointed at by every single other kid on the team? Right back at you, pal. Back at you.
Guess what happens when you get a ref that gives you a couple penalties in a game? Guess what? Are you going to battle back from adversity to win the game? No, you're going to cry like little babies and say, it's the ref, we got screwed. Instead of finding a way, get out there and find your effing dog.
Miss Lippy's car is green. All right, guys. Have a great week.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.